Well, that game week was just the worst, but we've got to start moving on and planning for the biggest blank game week of the season. So in this usual video, as we always do, we'll have a look at my team selection for the upcoming game week, potential transfers, captaincy shout, and chip strategy if I'm going to play my free hit. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So let's start off by having a look at my game week 28 transfers. So it came down to the deadline and I almost brought in Dunk of Brighton, who did end up scoring, but I did make no transfers. So this does mean that I will have 2 free transfers going into the blank game week 29. So I can look to bring in a couple more players who do have a fixture in game week 29 in for some players who don't play in that game week. So to review how game week 28 went, so I know for a lot of us it was a pretty tough week, but let's have a look exactly how I got on. So we start with double Aston Villa defence. Now we could have got off to such a good start with Aston Villa keeping that clean sheet against Newcastle, but it was taken away from us in that final minute of the game, and that was quite a big hit for me in terms of my points this week. So it could have been such a good start, but we didn't quite get it in the end. Next up we have Luca Dean. Now Burnley seemed to come out and play like Barcelona in this fixture, and Dean ended up on just 1 point with the goals that Burnley scored against them. So again, what could have been, it was a good fixture on paper, but Everton didn't look good defensively and Burnley played very well in this one. Now next up, probably the highlight of my game week is this double Manchester City defence. So Diaz returning 6 points with just a clean sheet, but Cancelo getting 3 bonus points and an assist on top of the clean sheet, making him my highest scoring player of the game week. Now Cancelo was my vice captain this game week, but unfortunately I didn't have quite enough guts in me to put the captaincy armband on him, although I did consider it. The first player into the midfield is Son. Now Son was going to be one of the key players that I had in game week 29, but it does look like he's picked up a hamstring injury. Now he went off early in this game, potentially could have got some attacking returns, but we'll just have to wait and see on whether he can be back playing in time for game week 29 or game week 30. Next up we have Captain Salah. So I did go for Captain Salah over Gundogan, and let's just say Liverpool and Salah in particular were very disappointing. There's not much more that can be said about him. I will be looking to move Salah on in the upcoming game weeks. He's just too much for the amount of points that he's returning. So yeah, not happy with Salah at all. Next up, we have 2 midfielders who didn't play in this game week. So Gundogan and Aubameyang both with 0 pointers. Now, Gundogan was just given a nice rest by his manager, whereas Aubameyang had fallen out with his manager, turning up late to the match, and so didn't get even on the pitch in the second half at all. So 2 midfielders who will have to be subbed out for players on my bench. Up front, we had Kane, who returned 2. So again, in that London derby, he didn't do very much until the final 10 minutes of the game when they were chasing it with only 10 men. He did have the ball in the back of the net, but it was ruled out for offside. So unfortunate for him in that London derby. And Watkins got an assist. It could have been a goal, but it was only given as an assist as a shot was off target. But to be honest, looking at the amount of returns, I'm very happy that Watkins did get something in that first game. However, looking at those auto subs, so into my team came Lookman into my midfield, who was 3rd on my bench, who scored 2 points away at Manchester City, and then Bamford, who scored 1 point against Chelsea, who again has gone off injured, so we'll have to wait and see how he is ahead of game week 29. But overall, that starting 11 gave me just 41 points. Now, this is just below the average. I think it was a pretty tough week for everyone, so if you've had a bad week, don't let that dishearten yourself. This game moved my overall score up to 1,867, a good overall point score to be on, but I did have a game week rank of 4.5 million. Again, not where I wanted to be this game week, but I did say let's just try and hold roughly where we are in terms of overall rank so that we can use game week 29, where I hope to have more players than the average person to get a green arrow. So this did mean I did get a red arrow as I was below the average. It moved me down from 15k to 20k. Now this is a small slip in terms of actual places, but quite substantial in terms of the number of points. So I will be hoping that game week 29 can be the game week that I use to turn that point swing around. Now moving on to the more important part, and let's have a quick look at some potential transfers that I might make ahead of game week 29. So just a quick reminder for you all of the 4 fixtures that are taking place in game week 29. So we have Aston Villa at home to Tottenham, Brighton at home to Newcastle, West Ham at home to Arsenal, and Fulham at home to Leeds. So there are a lot of players who look quite appealing, like Iheanacho of Leicester, that I think a lot of people are bringing in, but it's worth remembering that you should be looking to bring in players if you're not not playing your free hit to play for one of these 8 teams that you can increase the number of players that you are putting out in blank game week 29. So now we'll start having a quick look at some potential transfers out. The first one is Cancelo. Now Cancelo did get a really good return of 12 points, but it's just that he doesn't have a good fixture in game week 30 after having a blank in game week 29. I will then be playing my wildcard in game week 31, so I can look to bring him back in, but for me Cancelo is likely to be transferred out just to get another player in for that game week 29. Next up is Salah. Now Salah is a bit similar. He doesn't have a game week in game week 29. He has a fixture against Arsenal in game week 30, and I'll be wildcarding game week 31, but I do not plan on buying him back. I think the amount of money that you spend on him is too much, so this will probably be the last time that I own Salah this season unless there is a significant change in form. I do like the look of some of his teammates in Diego Jota and maybe Trent Alexander-Arnold going forward for my game week 31 wildcard, but for now Salah will be leaving my team. And the final one is Mitchell. Now it will allow me to have some of my more expensive players on the bench so I can bring them back in for game week 30, but I will be looking to upgrade Mitchell. Crystal Palace do look slightly better defensively, but of course at the moment Mitchell is out injured and so not getting me any points even when they keep a clean sheet. Now let's have a quick look and some thoughts on my potential transfers in ahead of the game week 29 blank game week. So the first one we're going to talk about is Dunk. Now I did have Dunk in my video last week and it is not completely reactionary after he scored a goal at the weekend. Dunk and Veltman are the 2 Brighton defenders that a lot of people are talking about, but if you look at the stats, Newcastle concede a lot of chances from both set pieces and from headed chances. So that's why I favoured Dunk. I know he's a bit more expensive, but I think there is a chance that he gets an attacking return against Newcastle because of that headed chances and chances from set pieces that Newcastle do concede. I also think there's a good chance for a clean sheet for Brighton in that fixture again, so there's double chance for some potential returns for Dunk. Next up we have Rafinha. Now Rafinha seems to be the main goal threat for Leeds at the moment. They seem to be changing their play a little bit where they keep looking for him. If they can't unlock the opposition, they give it to Rafinha because of how well he's playing. So going against Fulham, there may be times in the game where it's a bit difficult to break Fulham down given how strong their defence has been. So Rafinha I do expect to be a key part of the attack, as well as being on most set pieces for Leeds as well. So I think he's a really nice asset at a very affordable price of just 5.6 million. Next up, and the third potential transfer in, is Stuart Dallas, again of Leeds. So a really nice midfielder, classed as a defender in FPL. We know what he can do. There are clean sheet potential, especially with Fulham maybe not scoring as many goals. So I definitely think Dallas can combine clean sheet and attacking returns in this upcoming blank game week. So Dunk, Rafinha, Dallas, my potential blank game week transfers in. So just to summarise those transfers, we are potentially looking out Cancelo, Salah, Mitchell, and to bring in Dunk, Rafinha, Dallas. So 3 players who don't have a fixture to bring in 3 players who do. But with those potential transfers in mind, let's have a look at how my team could line up for game week 29. First of all, let's have a look at my actual predicted transfers. So I do actually think I'll make all 3 of these transfers and take a -4. So when we get into my actual team, I currently only have 8 players out of a potential full 11. So bringing in Dunk, Rafinha and Dallas for a -4 will give me potentially a full 11 players out in game week 29, which is more than the average person. However, I do have a couple of injury concerns which we will talk about as we get to them. So first up, we have double Aston Villa defence. So Martinez will be very highly owned, and I know they're both playing against Tottenham, but it does feel like this game week, if you can just field a player whatever the fixture is, then I think it's good anyway because of the amount of blank players that people will have. I know it's a tough fixture at home to Tottenham, and I do expect Tottenham to score, but Konsa has looked good in front of goal. There is a potential for a goal or an assist from him in game week 29 again, and then Martinez, we know what he can do in terms of save points. Next up, we have Dallas, who will come into my team with a Fulham away fixture. It's a really nice fixture, and I really like Dallas as a potential captaincy option as well this game week. So hopefully he can get some returns, both from a defensive clean sheet point of view, but also that attacking threat that he can bring. And next up, we have another new transfer in Dunk, who has Newcastle at home. So again, a bit like Dallas, I think there's good clean sheet potential, but it's combining that with the attacking threat to hopefully make up the -4 that I am taking this game week. Into the midfield, we have our third and final new transfer, so Rafinha. Again, Fulham away, I think it's better from a defensive point of view, but we know what Rafinha can do from set pieces, both from open play, so Fulham away again is a really nice fixture and a great player that I feel like I've finally owned after talking about him so much. Lookman at Leeds at home. Now, this again fixture, I'm going to have quite a lot of players in this. It's a potential for Fulham to get some points. They need to start returning points on top of the performance we've shown. Lookman has definitely shown potential in front of goal. He just needs to finish those chances. Leeds have looked better defensively recently, but we know what they're capable of and the form that they have shown at times in the season and how capable they are of exploding from a defensive point of view. So let's hope that Lookman can get some attacking returns while Dallas potentially gets some as well. Aubameyang is the next midfielder. Now, he has had a falling out with Arteta and I am slightly concerned that he will not play again in game week 29. I've just got to hope he plays. I'm not going to sell him for a -4 again. I'm just going to hope that he does start. And my other midfielder, again, I've just got to have a little bit of hope that he does play at least some minutes, is Son. Now, he did go off with what looked like a potential hamstring injury. We have heard rumours that he could be back as soon as game week 29, if not game week 30. So I will own Son. I'm not planning on selling him for a -4 unless there's absolute confirmation that he will not play, but I don't think we'll believe that from Mourinho, even if he does say it. So again, let's hope that Son can be back fit. Into the forward line, another potential injury concern for me is Patrick Bamford. Now, he's very highly owned. Both Bamford and Son are very highly owned. So again, I'm just hoping that he gets on the pitch. It was a dead leg in game week 28 against Chelsea, so I am more confident of Bamford playing than I am of Son. So let's see what happens. Next up, we have Watkins to complete my Aston Villa triple up against Tottenham Hotspur at home. Now, Tottenham have been okay defensively, but there's definitely going to be chances that Watkins can get some returns. If Jack Grealish potentially is back in the side as well, which there are rumours that he could be, then there's definitely increases Watkins' chance of getting some returns. And finally, we have Harry Kane. Now, Harry Kane, Aston Villa away. We know what Aston Villa are like defensively, but I don't feel like you want to go into this game week without Harry Kane. So that is how my full 11 could technically line up, but with Son, Aubameyang, Bamford all potentially not starting in this game week, it could only be 8 players. Now, this does mean that on my bench, I leave Areola, Diaz, Gundogan and Luka Dean. Now, Diaz, Gundogan and Dean all have a blank fixture, but I am potentially considering starting Areola over Martinez. Now, Areola has Leeds at home and Martinez has Tottenham at home. Now, I expect neither to keep a clean sheet. It's just who I expect to potentially concede fewer, so not get those minuses for goals conceded, and who I expect to make more saves. At the moment, I'm going with Martinez just because I think it's a pretty even race, but most people will own Martinez, so I don't want to run the risk of him doing very well, but that's a decision that I may make closer to the deadline. In terms of captaincy and vice captain, so actually at the moment my vice captain is on Lookman. I don't know, I just have a feeling that Fulham at home, they'll need some points at some point in the near future. Leeds at home feels like a good chance they can do it, and Lookman has definitely shown some potential in front of goal to get some attacking returns. However, there is only one captain for me in game week 29, and that is Harry Kane. He's had the most shots, he's the most attacking player and the most reliable player I feel like we've got in this game week, especially with Son out injured. So I can't see past a Harry Kane captain against Aston Villa. So with all that taken into account, with those transfers, that is how my team should line up for game week 29. So that's all we've got time for in this video. I hope you found it useful, interesting to see my plans for game week 29. If you have any questions about your own team or your chip strategy going into game week 29 or throughout the rest of the season, drop them in the comments down below and I will make sure to answer them ahead of the game week 29 deadline. But that is all we've got time for. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Good luck in game week 29, everyone, and I will see you all next time.